On Tuesday night, we will all be tuned in to watch the Orange Man take on Sleepy Joe in the first presidential debate. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the debate and who wins the overall election and what impact that will have on the stock market. This video is not going to be about what we agree with politically or who we want to win. We're going to be discussing what the implications are for the election on the stock market. So don't come at me in the comments section saying that you're a Trump supporter and I said this about Trump, or you're a Biden backer and I said something bad about Biden. You're angry and write a paragraph in the comments section about why I'm wrong. This isn't about politics. It's about the stock market and making money on our investments. I'm gonna be spitting straight facts. This is about money and our investments. And if we can't be objective when money's on the line, then we shouldn't be investing our own money. While watching the debate on Tuesday, money will be on my mind and my mind will be on my money. In this video, we're gonna be talking about the candidates' policy on business, tax cuts, and regulations, and what that impact will have on the stock market, what questions we should look for on the debate stage, as these answers could impact the stock market in the weeks and months to come. If you're new to the channel, this is Touchdown Trades. My name is Kevin, your trading BFF, your stock market bestie. Before we get started and talk about what impact the debate and the election will have on the market, do me a favor and destroy that like button for me. Give it the old Touchdown Trades snake eye jab in the eyes. As always, let's secure that bag by making smart investments and sound trades. Let's get it. The first presidential debate is on the way. And whether you like it or not, this election and the debate are going to have serious implications on your money, on your stock market investments, and on the stock market as a whole. And I know politics can be an emotional subject. They can get people riled up. And emotions and money don't go well together. So we have to be able to look at this from an objective perspective. Look at this election, determine who's the favorite to win, whose policies are going to affect the market in which manner, and make informed decisions without letting our emotions get involved. So in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the debate, the election as a whole, and its implications on the stock market. And we're going to talk about some scenarios, what could happen, and what its impact will be on the overall direction of the stock market, which will ultimately impact our money. So first, I want to talk about Obama and Trump and how their policies affected the market during their first term and Obama's entire 8-year presidency. Obama and Biden's policies are going to be somewhat similar, not exact, but somewhat similar, so we can use history as a reference point to see what happened during Obama's tenure as president to determine how Biden's policies may affect the stock market. All right, so I got a S&P 500 chart pulled up here, and I've got it marked out to match each president's term. So the green is Obama's terms. You have his first term in this area here, his second term in this area here, and then we have Trump coming in 2016 in this area right there, and he's still president today as we're trading at these highs. So let's see what president did what and how their policies affected the stock market. So Obama took over, if we remember, in 2008, and he was inheriting an economy that was demolished. We are coming off of the Iraq War, and the S&P 500 was trading at levels that we hadn't seen in decades. As the economy took a beating during Bush's presidency due to several factors, we had 9/11, we had the Iraq War, and just several economic factors led to a serious recession. We had the mortgage crisis, and it just wasn't a good time for the economy or the stock market. So Obama took over right here in 2008. His first tenure, the stock market, or his first term, the stock market made a 70% move to the upside. And then 2012, he won again, and the stock market made a 40% move to the upside in his second term. Trump took over 2016, and during Trump's first term, we've had a freaking parabolic move in the stock market, and then we had a jump off the cliff with the Rhinoceros Rex, but Trump ultimately has seen a over 60% increase in the S&P 500, in his first term. So what does this mean? Is this mean that Obama did better than Trump because he had a bigger percentage return during his first term than Trump did? I don't believe so, because Obama took over an economy that was so beaten down that if there was any improvements at all, there was going to be a drastic increase in the overall direction of the stock market. Trump took over a stock market that was already trading at decent levels, and then he sent it higher with his policies. Both did a good job in building the stock market up in their first term as president. I am on Joe Biden's website right now, and I'm reading some of his policies on big business and tax breaks. He has written this article, or one of his staffers has written this article talking about how President Trump's tax cuts really didn't help your average worker and kind of only helped the rich. And in this article, he notes that the Trump billionaire tax cut is calculated by lowering the capital gains rate from its current level of 23.8% to Trump's proposed 15% rate. The difference between Trump's billionaire tax cut and Biden's proposal shows how a Biden level of 39.6 compares to current law as well. So basically, Joe Biden is saying he's going to increase the capital gains tax rate to 40%. Capital gains are gains that you make on investments, primarily in the stock market. So if Joe Biden is elected, he is saying that he is going to implement a 40% tax on every profit that you make in the stock market. Just some food for thought there. I'm not saying that's going to affect the stock market as a whole. It's just something we need to think about and be prepared for. Also, something I am very concerned about is Joe Biden's vice presidential pick, Kamala Harris. She has been known to go after big business and the banks. And that is something that the market might be a little bit scared about as we head into November and gear up for this election. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are probably going to be very outspoken and talking about Trump and his inclination to give big business tax cuts, to give these big businesses breaks. They're going to say that they are more orientated towards your average worker, your average person in this country, and that they're going to go after big business, make them pay their fair share, and go after the banks as well. And this is going to scare the stock market, in my opinion, because we need to remember these big businesses that they're talking about are the big businesses that we're invested in. And if they're paying more taxes, that's going to reduce their bottom line and ultimately lower their stock price more than likely. The current president has been very open and straightforward about repealing regulations on the big banks, on these big businesses. He has implemented tax cuts for the wealthy and for these corporations, which has ultimately helped these companies make more money, which has in turn increased their share price. I don't want to come off as being in favor of one candidate or the other, but these are just facts, okay? If one president is going to reduce tax rates for big business and the other one is going to increase regulations and increase taxes for big corporations and business, that's going to affect the stock price of the companies that we're talking about, of the companies that we're invested in. You guys know I love investing in EV stocks and clean energy stocks, solar, hydrogen, EV. So Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, a more progressive ticket, is going to be more inclined in putting in place environmental regulations that will in turn benefit these clean energy stocks that we're investing in. So a Joe Biden, Kamala Harris win may hurt some of the bigger blue chip stocks with higher tax rates, with more regulations, but we can be ready for that if we believe that Biden is ultimately going to win. We can shift and transfer some of our investments from those bigger blue chip stocks that may be hurt with higher tax rates and more regulations, and put our money in clean energy stocks and EV stocks and prepare for what we believe is going to happen with the election, because the election will 100% affect the stock market. All right, let's talk about the debate and what to watch for. So this debate will be done by Fox News. Chris Wallace will be anchoring the first debate. And I'm going to be looking for questions on taxes for big business specifically, questions on environmental regulations, questions on going after the big banks. Biden is asked if he's going to go after these Trump regulation cuts, and he says he's going to attack these big corporations. We need to be prepared for a pullback the upcoming day in the overall market. The market needs to adjust to what it thinks is going to happen. Markets are never wrong. Money is never wrong. Where money goes, that's facts. Our opinions can be wrong, but financial markets always figure it out. I assume there's going to be questions on regulations, on tax cuts, on environmental regulations, and we need to be prepared for that. So who's going to win? I think we can position ourselves based on the betting odds, not the polls. We all saw what happened last election. I will never look at a poll again. The betting odds are another financial market, and I trust financial market. Money moves the betting odds, not opinions. Big bettors are coming on one candidate. They're coming all in on one candidate. That's going to move the betting odds in that candidate's direction. So that's why I believe in betting odds over polls. So right now, Biden is the favored candidate. Biden is favored to win he's at 54, Trump's at 44. So right now, we see Biden with an edge. If after the debate that changes, then we need to adjust to that. But I'm going to be following these betting odds. You can find them at realclearpolitics.com. I love that website. It gives you the latest information for the election, and you can base your own opinion on who you think has a better chance of winning, and then adjust your investments like that. So my plan is to watch the betting odds and then alter my portfolio as we get closer to the election based on what I believe is going to happen. So what is going to happen with this election and the stock market and the two coming together? So I believe if it's neck and neck going into the election, it's 50-50, a toss-up, and Biden wins ultimately, there's going to be a pullback in the stock market just because the stock market's not going to know what to expect, and financial markets don't like uncertainty. If Biden's up by a bunch going into the election, he's expected to win, and he wins, then the market won't really react with any adverse pullbacks. But if Trump wins, then we already know what to expect from a Trump presidency. I don't think there will be any pullback. So I think the only way this could get ugly is if it's neck and neck or Trump's up by a little bit in the betting markets going into the election and Biden wins. That's really the only way that there could be a pullback in the market. Short term speaking, we don't know what Biden's going to do long term, so there could be a pullback in his presidency. Of course, we could go into a recession or something like that, but that's not what this video is about. This video is talking about what's going to happen immediately after the election and how is this debate going to affect the election. So my plan going into the election is if Biden's up big going into the final stretch of the election, I'm going to pull some of my investment money out of the big blue chip corporations that I think could be negatively impacted by a Biden presidency. And I'm going to put some of that money into more clean energy investments, solar, wind, battery, EV. That type of investment I think could benefit during a Biden presidency. And once again, I'm not saying I prefer one candidate or the other. What I prefer is to make a bunch of money. And my decision making isn't going to be affected by my personal emotions on what presidential candidate I want to win. My decision making is going to be based on what decisions can I make to best position myself to profit in this stock market. And I believe that as investors, that is our obligation to our accounts. We have an obligation to ourselves, to our families, and to our investment accounts to position ourselves to profit regardless who wins the election. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like. Smash the like button, destroy the like button. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Drop.